Well, it's Thursday. That means a virtual house call from KRDO News Channel 13's Dr. John Torres.
Dr. John joining us via Skype today. And Dr. John, we were admiring that Hobby Lobby lamp behind you. It's very nice.
Like that?
You're covering it up a little too much.
You like that lamp there?
Yeah.
Very nice, huh?
Very
You have
nice.
good taste. Or your wife does, anyway. The first human case of West Nile virus reported in Pueblo today. But besides that, rabies, tularemia, all in our state. What are common sense ways to avoid getting them?
And the best thing to do is make sure you avoid the things that can give them to you. These diseases are carried by bugs like fleas and ticks, mosquitoes. So you want to wear insect repellent if you're going to be out and about, along with your sunscreen, because you don't want to get sunburned, obviously. But use some common sense. Avoid dead animals and ones that are acting very strange. Fleas from sick and dead animals may be carrying rabies or plague. Fleas don't carry rabies, but the animal could, and they could be carrying a plague. And so again, you want to be very, very careful with these things. And a lot of people like to take care of sick animals. I would not do that this time of the year because of all the instances we're having of these different diseases.
And we're talking about mosquito bites. I mean, is there a way that you know that you might be in trouble when you get a mosquito bite?
As far as West Nile or any of these other diseases that are out there, you really don't know for the first 5 days, 7 days, maybe even a couple of weeks, because it's just going to act like a regular insect bite. But if you start getting fevers, if you start getting stomach problems, you start getting headaches, that's the time you need to get checked out.
All right. Well, Summer Olympics a year away, but we're hearing that Olympic athletes are getting sick after swimming and boating off the coast of Rio.
And this is kind of disgusting if you think about it. These poor athletes are going to be down there doing that. But athletes who have come in contact with water down in Rio have lost some valuable training time because they're sick with these stomach-type illnesses, vomiting and diarrhea mainly. The Associated Press investigated the problem, and they found, again, that the water in Rio de Janeiro, the Olympic venues, is contaminated with dangerously high levels of viruses and bacteria from, yes, human sewage. Brazil says the water will be safe by the Olympic time, but neither the Brazilian government or the International Olympic Committee test for bacteria. I'm sorry, they do test for bacteria, but not for the viruses. So Olympic athletes are almost certain to come in contact with disease-carrying sewage causing these viruses. So again, they're going to have to be very, very careful with this. And the easy thing to say is don't swallow the water, but when they're in their extreme competition, it's hard not to do that.
Yikes.
And it's very common in Brazil. Pollution is very common. The majority of it's sewage, and the majority of that's not treated. So again, this is one of those things that they have to be very careful with.
So if you're going Rio, don't drink the water is what you're saying.
Exactly.
All right, Dr. John, shifting gears now, how much coffee that you drink, it can really have an impact on your brain, but not in a good way?
And coffee is one of those things I always talk about, that one week it's great for you, the next week it's not so good for you, and it kind of goes back and forth. Well, this is a story where you have to be careful because a new analysis just came out this week in a journal of Alzheimer's disease. It looked at the link between coffee drinking habits and what we call cognitive function, or how well we think. And essentially what researchers found that those who regularly drink 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day had a reduced rate for developing mild cognitive impairment. In other words, it helped out compared with those who never drank or rarely drank coffee. But, and this is the big caveat, those who regularly drank more coffee over time ended up having a greater risk than those who only drank about a cup a day. And so 1 or 2 cups a day appears to have greater benefit than drinking no or very little coffee. So the message here again, don't start drinking more coffee as you get older. And this basically fits right in with my big word I use all the time.
Moderation.
Moderation, you got it.
No more coffee.
So I guess Dr. John and I won't be going for coffee 3 times a week. We'll have to reduce it to once.
There you go. And again, you can drink
laws.
coffee. Coffee helps, but you have to be very moderate with it. You can't drink too much.
Moderation.
All right, switching gears to smoking now. Good news and bad news. Cigarette use is down among people under the age of 21, but turns out hookah may be taking its place.
And hookah seems to be taking its place in a lot of areas, and hookah gives you a big dose of tobacco, so that's what gets a lot of people concerned. As a matter of fact, a new report from Washington University says social media could be partially to blame for all of this. Researchers scanned more than 14 billion tweets over 1 month. They were looking for keywords relating to hookah. Of the top tweets mentioning hookah, about 9 out of 10 of them either normalized it, thinking it was okay, or even promoted the use of hookah. More than 1 in 6 also mentioned alcohol, marijuana, or other drugs along with that, and more than a quarter were advertisements promoting hookah products or businesses associated with hookah. So when you're talking to your kids about health risks, because they do use social media, make sure you put hookah smoking on the top of that list and talk to them about how that's one of those things they definitely don't want to start.
All right. Thanks so much, Dr. John. We will see you on Medical Monday.
We'll see you then.
All right, we'll be right back.